Hello and welcome back to The Unfinished Kitchen, where oops is an ingredient in the kitchen and in life. My name's Devin. I don't think I've ever officially introduced myself in any of my videos, so that's my name, just FYI. Today we're going to be making one of my favorite things ever, which is cinnamon rolls. It's so funny how easy they are to make. It's just a matter of timing. They are time consuming in the aspect of you have to make the dough and then you have to wait 2 hours for it to rise, and then you have to roll out the dough, and then there's another rise time, whether you want to rise the next day or whether you're doing it that day. So this video is going to be a little different than some of my others because there's going to be 3 parts, because I'm not going to record for in between each 2 hours. So we're going to do this in 3 different parts. So the background on this recipe is it's actually pistachio cinnamon rolls from Ranch to Table with Elizabeth Poet. I think that it's January 2nd, so not 2025, but 2024. I had an in-between time of I was a new mom and trying to figure out how I wanted to raise my kids and how, like, the type of home that I wanted them to be in. And I found myself, you have a small baby, so I'd play with them on the floor, but as background noise, I would have the TV on. And a lot of it was Magnolia Network because I love the home. I love the cozy. I love that behind that brand. And it makes me feel good and something that I want to bring into my home, which is why I have like a lot of the Magnolia items and cookbooks. But the cookbooks are just great. The food that's in there is just absolutely delicious. But one of the shows on the network is Ranch to Table, and she made these cinnamon rolls that look so good. I'm like, I want a good cinnamon roll, not the round can of cinnamon rolls. Like, I want a good cinnamon roll. It's hard to find one around here. I live around Syracuse, New York. There is one cinnamon roll that's like way up north, but I'm like 40 minutes from that place now. So I wanted one that reminded me of that, and who doesn't like a great cinnamon roll? So I watched this and I was like, what if I made it, but I nixed the pistachios? Because, I'm sure that the pistachio recipe is really good, but I am just, a plain old cinnamon roll gal. So I made these, and this is now a tradition that I make them on Christmas Eve, and then I put them in the fridge, and then Christmas morning we have these delicious homemade cinnamon rolls, and it's just been, such a great tradition so far, and I can't wait to keep it up. So like I said, it's January 2nd, so we actually made these cinnamon rolls twice because I hosted 10 people from out of town in our house, and I only got one cinnamon roll the first time around, and I really wanted another one, and guess what? I want another one. So that's what we're going to make today. What's interesting about today, though, is that I am halving the recipe. So this recipe makes 12 cinnamon rolls. There are, 2 adults, a 2-year-old, and a 7-month-old in our house. And trying to get through 12 cinnamon rolls is a lot. And I'm sure that, I could freeze them, but right now we're just going to try halving the recipe and kind of go from there. So like I said, this is a very, it's not time consuming, it's just timely and with planning. So like, for example, I was supposed to set the buttermilk out and the eggs to get to room temperature. This mixture has probably been set out for about 10 minutes. So it's definitely not at room temperature. But honestly, that's how I feel like whenever I make this recipe, that's the one step I forget. Like, I know there's 2 hours rise time, and then there's another 2-hour rise time, but I always forget the room temperature aspect for the buttermilk and eggs. However, they still turn out great. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, I will have the link below in the description so you can get the full recipe. Again, it is pistachio cinnamon rolls. I just don't do the pistachio part. I just do regular cinnamon rolls. And this is going to be a halved version of the recipe. This is the first time I'm doing a half version, and I'm not great at doing half versions of any recipe or doubling any recipe. I know it's science and math to just be able to add and subtract, but it doesn't always quite turn out the way that I hope it is. So we are about to find out together, because that's what the Unfinished Kitchen is all about. So right now I have my buttermilk. So it's going to be a half a cup of buttermilk. So this is to make 6, a half a cup of buttermilk at room temperature. And you're gonna have a 1/4 stick of butter, which I went ahead and melted. And then 2 large eggs. So we're gonna combine that in a medium-sized bowl, which this isn't medium, this is small, and that's okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and combine that in there. I'm gonna get my whisk out to get this mixture all nice and mixed up. And your mixture, it may look a little curly, and that's okay. Everything will combine between the kneading and the mixing. It is not smooth, and I think that's partially probably part of the reason why getting it to room temperature is so important. So then you can have a little bit of a smoother mixture, but it's fine. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started with our flour. So we need 2 1/4 cup of flour. So I have 1. Oh my gosh, with Christmas recently, I cannot tell you how many times I've had to go downstairs and refill this canister. This is an 80-ounce, like 5-pound canister. And I buy the 50-pound bags from Costco because, well, make a lot. So it just makes sense to keep that downstairs, but I've had to make many trips downstairs to refill this sucker. All right, so that was 2 cup and 1/4. And then we need 1/2 of a 1/3 cup for the sugar, which apparently is 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. So, oh, that's teaspoon. Hold on. Tablespoon. So 1, 2 tablespoons. And I guess I could have done the teaspoons, but that's okay. 2 teaspoons. Perfect. I'm sorry, I had a runny nose. I had the sniffles. So no, snot will get in anything. I can assure you, and my hands are clean. So then we're going to do 1 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. Love instant yeast. I used it last night to make homemade pizza crust. I need to make that for you all. It's so great to be able to make a pizza literally within 20 minutes. And that's like making the dough and putting the toppings on the dough and letting it cook. Okay, no, it's a lie. It might be a little bit more than 30 minutes because it takes at least 12 to 13 minutes in the oven. But in that process, it literally takes time out. It's making. Okay, anyway, back to this. So, and then we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And some of my ingredients are getting stuck because I literally just washed these because, like I said, I made pizza last night and used some of these items. All right, perfect. So now we have all of our dry ingredients in here, and we're gonna go ahead and start mixing it on a low speed. And then as this mixes slowly, we're also going to put in our buttermilk, butter, and egg mixture. I'm gonna get a spatula to get some of the other goodness from this, because again, like I said, I didn't let everything get to room temperature, so it does curdle a little bit. But I have actually, this is one of the things that I've done before and it still works out. It's not what I recommend, not at all. Like, I recommend following in the directions. But with my time constraints today, I thought I would just go ahead and get everything all set out. So we're just going to make sure that we get as much into our bowl as possible. And then the dough is kind of coming together. What I'm also going to do is just scrape down. I like to go through and scrape down the sides because, you know, I love KitchenAid and I love using the dough hook, but I do feel like sometimes it just takes a minute to get down to those sides. And we just let it mix. Okay, our dough is ready to go because it has come off of the sides of the bowl. So that tells me that it's ready to start kneading. So we're going to, I don't know why I'm holding it, but we're going to flour our surface. And then I also like to take a little bit of flour and just kind of rub it on my hand so it's a little bit easier to handle the dough because it is really sticky. It's a tiny dough ball, it's so cute. And then we're just going to knead the dough. So while that was combining and mixing, I cleaned I wiped down my cooktop surface because I had got some of the other ingredients a little bit on the counter, so I wanted to make sure that I had a clear cooktop surface. But I also got a bowl to put a little bit of oil in there, and then that's where we'll set our dough and we'll cover it, make sure it's all covered in oil, and then we're gonna put it in a warm spot. So, you know, like I said, I live around Syracuse, New York. Right now it is really cold. We've had some crazy winter weather. I think there's probably about 2 feet of snow, maybe a little bit more outside right now. So there's not really a warm spot in the house unless it's in front of the heating vent. So one tip that I have heard is putting your dough in the oven and just turning the oven light on, so the heat from the light in the oven will help give it that, you know, warmer space, and kind of create like a little tomb. So typically, especially around Christmas and throughout the winter, we just don't today because it's a Friday and I have like 5 million other things I'm gonna do today. We normally have a fire going in our fireplace. It is a wood burning fireplace. So then typically what I'll do is, whether it is the day before or if it's the next morning and we have a fire going, I just put the dough in front of the fire to help it rise. And that is perfect. So now we have our cute little ball. I'm so excited because it looks good. And then we're gonna get a little bit of oil. You can use, there's vegetable oil is what you're supposed to use for greasing for the bowl. Sorry. I have olive oil in here. I have vegetable oil, but it's down there. So we're just gonna use the olive oil. It's already in the container. And I don't trust myself because the vegetable oil is not in something simple to pour. It's in one of those big canisters, and you can already see that going south. So just greasing the sides of the bowl, and then we're going to roll our dough in the grease and make sure that the oil, and then make sure that there's an oiled side up. And then I'm going to grab some press and seal plastic wrap to cover it up. I mean, like I said, that literally took barely any time to pull together. It's just a matter of pulling the dough together, waiting 2 to 3 hours, then pulling the middle mixture, rolling out the dough, and slicing it into the rounds, and then waiting another 2 hours. And yes, I could have greased my dough bowl, which depending on what I'm making, like if I'm making bread, yeah, I leave the bread in here. But I need to wash this because I'm also going to use this to make the cream cheese frosting, which, by the way, I'm going to set out the cream cheese right now because that's something else that needs to come to room temperature whenever you are making cinnamon rolls. And for some reason, I cannot find it at the moment, so either on the in-between, I'm going to find it, or I'm going to run out to the store and grab some cream cheese. All right, so this is all nice and covered and oiled up, and I will see you all back here in about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, it's definitely been more than 2 hours, probably about 3 hours, so our dough has doubled in size. That's really loud. And it's looking quite lovely. So we are going to flour our surface. And then we're gonna dump this guy over here. And typically for the dough, we're supposed to roll it out to be 12 by 16, but we're gonna half that to 6 by 8 since we're only getting 6 rolls out of this instead of the 12. But I mean, the dough feels fantastic. It feels exactly like the cinnamon roll dough that I have worked with before. So far, so good with having and then not allowing our buttermilk to go and our eggs to go to room temperature. So I'm just gonna get a little bit more flour here. And something that I could have done and I probably should have done before this was go ahead and make the filling, but that will take no time at all. So you want to roll this out to where it's basically a big rectangle. And honestly, this looks pretty good. And because I have no idea what a 6 by 8 looks like, we're gonna get my handy dandy ruler / baking stick. It's called the oven stick. I love this thing. So that looks a wee bit long and a wee bit long. So we're gonna shrink in this. This is kind of getting closer to what the actual size would be, but I guess if you did that, you would still get 12 cinnamon rolls. They would just be smaller cinnamon rolls. So a normal recipe, the cinnamon rolls are like this big. They're ginormous, and we don't want them to be too big because they're going in a smaller pan. Usually it goes in a 9 by 13, but we're gonna put the 6 in this 8.5 by 8.5 pan. All right, so we're going to push this in to where it is a little bit shorter. And then kind of roll it back out. Woo, that's really stretchy. And I want to keep it all even to make sure that it's not too thin anywhere, because that will affect whichever roll. All right. This doesn't look pretty. I can assure you it's going to taste good. And honestly, I kind of think that I want to re-roll this out. But it's okay. We're just going to work with what we have. And I'm just going to roll it this way so then I can get more, because I ended up having everything a little mixed up. But that's all right. Okay. So now we're going to work on our filling, which is a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. Oop, that's not brown sugar. This is brown sugar, and I can only fit my 1/4 cup in there, so we're going to do 2 1/4 cups, which makes our 1 cup. And then a 1/2 tablespoon of, oh, that's not a 1/2 tablespoon. Another 1/2 tablespoon out. Of cinnamon. And then I have one of my little mini whisks to combine this mixture together. And then I need to grab a small bowl for my 1 tablespoon of melted butter that we're going to brush on the top, even though I know a little bit of cinnamon on there. That's fine. This is how I measure butter. It has the tablespoons on here, and so I see, oh, 1 tablespoon, so then I make a little dent in the package in the butter, and that's how I get a tablespoon of butter. Okay, after a couple of tries, our tablespoon of butter is officially melted. So now I'm going to brush this onto the dough to help our topping stick. Alright. And then we're going to just take our mixture and sprinkle it over. I like to fill it up and try and get it as even as possible. Because aside from the icing, this is the best part. Okay, so typically whenever, you roll out your cinnamon roll dough, you want the side where you're going to cut to be this way. So typically I have it longer and shorter on the ends, so then I roll it up and I cut everything. But because I'm a little sideways right now, we're just going to do this a little wonky. So I'm gonna roll it, like fold this over right here. And I've left a little bit on this end open because that's kind of like where we're going to seal it. So we're just gonna roll until we have a big log. Our seal is on the bottom. Perfect. So now we have a nice long log. One of the tips from her show, and to save you a little bit in the long run, is to slice, like do a little slit for the number that you need. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some dental floss that is non-flavored and slice up each individual roll, so then we get a perfect roll each time, but also so the filling stays in a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is perfect doing those slits. It just helps you, instead of like blindly cutting, like, do I really have enough? Because I didn't. The first time that I made these, I made the slits and somehow I ended up with 13 rolls, not 12. So this also helps. Oh wait, I think that I need to butter. Yes, I need to butter my pan real quick. So I'm just gonna put the rest of that melted butter in here and get it all over the pan. Oh, and before I left you, I said I had to set out some cream cheese for room temperature. I did find the cream cheese, so I do have that sitting out. All right, that's perfectly buttered. And so we take our nice little roll and we place it in our pan. And then we're just going to repeat this process more times. And I apparently can't count because I came out with 7 and not 6. And I'm also going to chop off the end of this because this is all just a little extra dough that I don't want to be included. And now that I'm looking at the pan, especially because I have 7 in there, not 6, because I don't know math. And anybody who knows me really well knows that I don't know math. I'm going to look and see if I have a different pan to put this in. That might be a little bit smaller. I think that'll go with a round pan, which is typically what you do with like the Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, is you put those in a round pan. So let me look. Okay, so now after a wild search, I found this pie dish down in my storage room, and I just heated up more butter. It's probably about a tablespoon. So we're gonna brush this instead and put our cinnamon rolls in here. And I think that this will make for a little bit better of option. And it'll also be interesting and different how it turns out, because like I said, this is the first time that I'm doing a half batch. But I feel like that it should be, that they'll turn out just fine. They'll probably taste amazing, but they just might not look as pretty. And that's okay. So yep, that fits into this dish quite nicely. So, and then we have a little bit of room on each side of each cinnamon roll for its second rise. So now I'm going to, I think I could probably reuse this. So now I'm going to reuse this press and seal wrap to cover this dish. And then I'm going to pop it to where it can rise for another 2 to 3 hours. And then we'll come back and I'll put it in the oven while those are, I'll probably go ahead after they rise. I'll take a picture and I'll show you what it looks like after they've rised, but then they'll just immediately go in the oven, and then it has 10 minutes to cool. So then while the cinnamon rolls are cooling, then we'll come back and go through the icing bit. So then we can make the icing, and then these will be all ready to go. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out, with it being a smaller batch compared to what I normally make. And with that said, I'll see you back here in a bit. All right, friends, we're in the home stretch of this. So this is what the cinnamon rolls look like now. They're a little darker on the top than I'd like them to be, I think, because the back part of my oven is just a wee bit warmer than the front part of my oven. So this side is a little darker than this side, but they were in the oven for, the oven set at 350. They were in there for 20 minutes, and then I put them in for an additional 3 minutes to try and darken this other side. But I mean, honestly, for the most part, they look pretty good for only doing 6 and putting it in a pie dish. So, you know, very, very unfinished kitchen-like. So now what we're going to do is we are going to whip up the icing. So we need 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And like I said, I mean, I don't do this to be fancy. I buy all of my sugars and flour and baking soda, baking powder, salts in bulk. So it's just easier for me to run downstairs to my storage room grocery store. If you ever want a tour of that, or just to see what I have in there and how I kind of do things, let me know in the comments. But we're gonna put this in here. It makes it so much easier because I do bake a lot, specifically in the winter. I don't bake a whole lot in the summer, but we're going to do a few recipes throughout the summer months, so I can, you know, continue to keep up with what we have going on here on the Unfinished Kitchen. We just might do a little less baking, and, you know, it'll be summer months, so we'll do like fresher recipes. So there's the 1/4 cup, and then I just needed to grab a little bit more to fill up my 1/2 cup here. And you know, the glory of powdered sugar is, no matter how delicate you try to be with powdered sugar, it still ends up being messy. Okay, so in we go with our powdered sugar, and then we're gonna put 2 ounces of cream cheese, because this is a cream cheese icing. I mean, you can find just a glaze-based icing, which I believe is just powdered sugar and water to make it a glaze. And then I need an 1/8 cup of whole milk, which I forgot to grab. Eighth cup. So this is the recipe that's online. However, like I said, we recently had the holidays and my mom was here and she tweaked the icing recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and tweak it as well. So she did a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla to just give it a little bit more oomph. So we're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, and then we're going to add just a pinch of salt, which, oh, sorry, pinch of salt, perfect. And now we're just gonna mix that up and try not to get powdered sugar everywhere. I'm going to get my spatula in there to scrape down the sides of the bowl. So I start it on a lower speed just so I don't have powdered sugar flying all sorts about the bowl, because I've done that before. And I'm sure if you are new at baking, you've done that too. And you might do that on the first try and that's fine. So we're just gonna scrape down the sides a little bit just so we can get that, all the goodness in there. All right, even though my cream cheese is at room temperature, my icing is still a little lumpy, so I'm gonna scrape down the sides of the bowl one more time, and then we're just gonna go high-speed chase on our mixer to get it all blended together and to get it all smooth and creamy. I do have a hand mixer, like I said in the beginning of the video, that I was going to clean my glass bowl. So I had my glass bowl to do this, and that's why I got a different bowl out to have my dough rise. And well, it is now 7 o'clock at night and that didn't happen. So we're just using this bowl. So I think for a smaller batch of icing, so if you're going to half it, I would just use a hand mixer. That would be much easier than trying to use the KitchenAid. Okay, so that looks nicely blended. Looks very, very good. Super excited about this. So yes, if you're not a cream cheese fan, you can, or if you need to be dairy free, although there is buttermilk in the cinnamon rolls. But if you need to be a little less dairy, then you can just use powdered sugar and water. But I would probably flavor it just a little bit more. And I think that's why my mom flavored it as well, is because, I mean, powdered sugar has, you know, some sweet taste to it, but I think that the vanilla actually helps. So now I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way so I can give you a better visual. All right. So here are our cinnamon rolls. You're supposed to let them cool for 10 minutes, but I think it's probably been about 5 minutes, and we're gonna just go ahead and top this off. And you can do multiple things. I'm not really particular. It might be a little tricky, so it's easier in a 9x13 when you make the full recipe, because you can just cut in 12 and it doesn't have to be perfect. A perfect cinnamon roll. I mean, it already is a perfect cinnamon roll because it is just that delicious. And we just smooth this on here. I'm going to be just a little particular. There is no rhyme or reason on how delicate it needs to be. But like I said, now that I have a middle cinnamon roll, I just kind of want to leave myself a little bit of space to be able to see the center. Or you know what, if these are just for yourself, which this is a great, I mean, I'm telling you. So I think it says that you can store these in your refrigerator for, I don't know, I think it typically they tell you like, oh, serve in or store in your refrigerator for so long or whatever. I mean, I store it in my refrigerator and they honestly don't last very long. Like, I'm going to have one tonight, and I'm going to have one for breakfast, and one for breakfast the next day. And you don't even have to wait for breakfast. You can just have it whenever. I mean, the other night when we had a bunch of people over for Christmas, we were making our second batch of cinnamon rolls because I really want another one, and we ate them that night because they're just that good. All right. So even that half recipe of icing is still a little bit much. Like, I have this left in here. I think I might put it in a container. This is, you know, it's just a generic cream cheese icing, which is great for like fruit dips. If you have any fruit around the house and you just want to add a little zazz to it. So typically what I don't do is I don't, you know, taste my work. Although on the caramel crunch video, I did taste my work. But I don't typically taste it on video, but I'm going to do that today because I just want to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to get all right, and I just want to get a little bit closer just to show you how delicious they look. Doesn't it look amazing? It looks so good. It also helps me get a screenshot of the cover image of this video if that's one that I use. Okay, so I kind of see my edge here. No, I think I just cut it in the middle. I'm not sure exactly what I just did. We're just gonna kind of wing taking this out. I don't know what I did, but I mean, it's still like, oh my gosh. Just look, oh, I did. I missed some of the innards. So we're going to take some of those innards because those are mine and I want them. But look at how just fluffy and flaky and delicate this is. It is, I'm telling you, if you make cinnamon rolls, these homemade cinnamon rolls, you will never feel the need to buy a cinnamon roll, and you'll be spoiled of the canned cinnamon rolls. No offense, Pillsbury, but you will be spoiled. My fancy Target dessert fork. All right, so we're just gonna get a little bit of this icing from the top. That's another like reason why it's good to put the spare icing, because it doesn't get, the icing doesn't get down the sides. So if you're like a big icing person, then you'll want that extra to be able to get down on the sides. Let's see, like, these taste exactly the way that they do when I make a full batch. I'm really excited. A little concerned for my waistline, but I'm really excited about this. So thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please feel free to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section. But I truly hope that you enjoyed this video and that you make this recipe, and I'll see you in the next one.